Maneva na say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
Memo Akuffo Addo ba PENDREAM TV so make sure say any day they can share na obe subscribe to channel no click bell ni so say the news to also nsa betumi aka ne tem na watie make sure so obe share na foforo so nsa aka na ohun ye koso wa yemma mu ha honorable Alhassan Suhuyini na good morning Ghana so odin sem bia betu dwa afa ban ati akunya iso ene ni yisi a appointed no no chema sa MPP abanwe Akuffo Addo ba omi aban no chire oni isi ene a mpenyi de G0es no yanhwe ya Ghana fo nyina yanhwe ya omode dia ense emfata ene beba oman so esanse enema a chire ede de nyina chire se they are a threat to this country se Ghana fo nyina yehwe na yisi we niema bi a wo ye no ye kasa chire na esanse nhye bi a ode abetutu dwa se come 2024 election eno ni ebedi so ti se ye bepom 3 p.m. any indelible ink a kire so obi ato aba na obeto peso to bi we be me identify na o si se enyu so bio ene niema bebre ode abetu dwa se come 2024 come December 2024 election no wayi bi free mu de bi akeka ho no niema bi wo ha de o ha ne amane ene bebre o man ya they are posing a threat to the country say ye ne kan ho ase men kasa bebre men saka video no ha yanko na yanko hwe.
I'll share with you a report from some of the electoral areas that could not have their elections end successfully, during the district assembly elections. And in many instances, voting ended after 12 midnight. In fact, in my constituency, one of the electoral areas, the Kula Balai electoral area, voting ended at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. Not because, 4 a.m. the next day.
The next day.
That's what I mean. 4 a.m. the next day. Not because the voters were not there, but because of just the inefficiency
of what?
Of the Electoral Commission. DVD machines, faulty. Materials arriving late. And that is not an isolated one.
I was actually going to say that, if you have isolated cases, you can address them as such.
I'm telling you that they are not resolving the concrete challenges that the EC are faced with. They are rather, high on some crazy ideas that you do not know, you are unable to tell which interest they want to serve. Look, in Pandai, a place known as Balai West, Oyombo, there was confusion there. Electoral officers and election materials had to be taken over by the people because of, materials arriving late and the officials not being up to the tax, and voting was disrupted in that area. And it goes on. You have in Sandarugo, now the number no. I have all the reports here. I'll share it with you. But I'm just telling you that in many of these areas, voting went past 12 midnight across the country. Yet, when she speaks about how she's going to close voting at 3 p.m., you wonder what work she does on the ground to resolve challenges that lead to some of these outcomes that we had during the district assembly elections. Remember, the stakes are not as high when it comes to district assembly elections compared to general elections. And yet, even with the district assembly elections, voting in many areas could not end at even 6 p.m. It went beyond 12. Then you have the issue of indelible ink. Where you have a situation where BVD machines are still breaking down, you are unable to verify people who have voted. The only surest way of identifying someone who has voted before or who has voted already is the indelible ink. And whose interest does it serve? Why? Is it because of the Q test you put on her fingernails? And so she doesn't want people who do the Q-test to have their nails stained by the indelible ink, or what at all? Or is it too expensive?
If you have polish on, the indelible ink doesn't affect your nail. It affects the skin part.
Thank you for the education, but I don't understand what this decision not to use the indelible ink serves. I mean, what interest it serves.
Okay,
I can't understand.
Let me get to Sly. So, like I said, a lot of issues came up. I think one of the things that also shocked me a bit was how the Council of State, and well, Dr. Farijan has said something about the Council of State, but how they responded to when Apia Hene was appointed. And I think persons sent letters to the Council of State that you have to solve this problem, that you can't have a known partisan person appointed at the office of the Electoral Commission. That would create a bit of discomfort during elections. And the Council of State's response was quite, I don't know.
What was the response?
I'll pull up the letter, but I think.
Well, I think
to me, it wasn't
important.
encouraging.
Annie, I think that yes, I mean you could have your own opinion on matters of this nature, but again, let me say that how my colleague brother went about this whole thing, I'm not surprised. The NDC as a party, anytime there is election, and they are not in government, they single out institutions that has the mandate for attacks and set the tone to as it were, reject the outcome of the elections. And it's been typical of doing that. From time immemorial, anytime the NDC is not in power, then every other institution in this country should be bastardized. And they see, and we can all see, defeat ahead of them. So I'm not surprised. So let them continue to bastardize the institutions of state. We all live in this country. Whilst we are talking about the issues, they should go on the frolic of their own, attacking the institutions of state, and the elections will come. They've done that one too many times. And this time, Ghanaians are reading in between the lines that any time they are not in power, then any other institution should be bastardized. Look.
Do you want me to read your letter, the Council of State?
I'll come to that. Now you can read that.
No, you go ahead.
Yes.
When you're ready.
So, Annie, he's made it clear that the mandate of the EC is to present or preside over credible, free, fair, transparent elections. And look who is speaking today. Dr. Afarijan. It's quite laughable. He's talking about having regional coalitions as grounds for electoral malpractice. He's forgotten in his testimony in chief at the Supreme Court in the 2012 electoral petition. He made it clear that elections are not won at the regional office or the national office, rather at the polling stations. And it's been his advice to the NDC. So why now he's saying that the electoral results that are transmitted from regional offices become the basis for electoral malpractice or rigging of elections? We've had this process. Sorry? We've had these processes over time. So I don't know what he's talking about. But look, it is not for nothing that the political parties themselves are to have agents even at the polling center. To the extent that at the point of printing the ballot papers, you have your agent to follow through the process as it were. Now, you go into an elections and results are declared. You have a problem with the arbiter that these results that you've declared are not credible, are not accurate. And we will not accept it, we will not recognize the results that you have churned out. Annie, how do you challenge it? You can only challenge that results on the basis of a pink sheet or whatever sheet it is and your own collation. I am not surprised that your own party...
Be careful with the word you're using. Sheet.
I don't want to repeat what you said. So, your own party people, they've gone to queue, struggled, voted, and you cannot account for them. The institution you expect, they have put out their numbers there. If you doubt the numbers, where are your numbers? So I'm not surprised that their own party foot soldiers, when they went to court, that the election results cannot be accepted. They are rejecting the results, and that Nana Akuffo Addo had not been validly elected. Then the court asked them, what figures do you have to contradict what the EC has put out there? After that, they told us it was a morale booster for their party foot soldiers. This is so shameful and the height of most incompetence that one can describe as a political party. So they are setting the tone. Thank God. And it's good you are telling your followers that you don't have a responsibility to even ascertain the numbers from polling station nationwide.
That's not what he said.
I know, but I'm
He
inferring.
said constitutionally is a responsibility of the EC.
Fantastic.
That is right.
So if constitutionally, we all know, we all accept that, then why do you put your agent there? You shouldn't have put agent anywhere. Constitutionally, you trust the EC.
The agents are not there to serve
I'm coming.
Ghana. They are there to serve the party.
The party. So
Yes.
in this case,
The one serving Ghana is the Electoral Commission.
yes. So if the electoral
Its
commission,
integrity must be above board.
please, who is impugning the integrity of the EC? It is you.
Well-meaning Ghanaians. The research
What
has
do
shown
you
that
mean?
the
What do
research
you
has
mean?
shown
It
that
is
the
a team
image
chant
of
out there.
the image of the commission has come down.
So you go to court, well-meaning Ghanaians, so to speak. You've elected to represent them in court because whatever they are saying, that the credibility of the election is in doubt. Because the numbers that suggest that His Excellency Nana Akuffo Addo has been validly elected is in doubt. Then you go to court and say that, I don't trust your integrity. Therefore, the numbers you put out there are not credible. What other numbers do you have to
four
contradict?
times changes of the Electoral Commission's results, was it inconsistency with the
Where is
MPP,
it? Where is
MPP's
it?
results?
Where is it?
No, I'm asking.
Go to the
what
go to the
MPP
gazetted numbers.
Hold on.
They're challenging the numbers that were gazetted. What are they talking about? I haven't seen the numbers they are disputing. So what other numbers do they have? What are they talking about? So the point I'm making is that, look, in my constituency, and I've seen people go to court, in the celebrated case of George Amo and Rebecca Adote in Ayawaso West Wagon, we produced numbers to contradict the EC's results, and the court upheld it. You don't go to court in a vacuum and say that is a morale booster for your party followers. Is that not the reasons they've given us after 1 year of that wild goose chase at the Supreme Court? So please, we are going for another election. You don't set the tone to discredit the EC and think that they will declare you victors in the coming elections. You work for it. He's a member of parliament, not once, not twice. Obviously, his police his process throughout. I'm not saying that for the fact that if they are in power, even when they are in power, and it is only when they are in power they can trust the integrity and sanctity of the Electoral Commission, he still put out agents there. And don't agents bring him pink sheet or the numbers they get from the polling stations. It is only when they are in power that the sanctity and integrity of the EC will not be in doubt. Even at that stage, they put agents there. But if you fail woefully to collect your own results to contradict whatever results the EC put out there, then you come and sit here and say, Constitution, yes, we all agree. Why do you have your agent accredited to even supervise what they are doing there? So these things give a dog a bad name and hang it. We must stop it.
Because you also have a responsibility of monitoring whatever is being put out.
Exactly. I'm for electoral reforms. And the MPP over time had always been at the forefront of championing electoral reforms. So I'm with them. Today, I haven't seen the reasons for EC saying that we must not do with the indelible inks.
The reason, yeah.
I want to know the reason. Look, if, in 2012, when we fought for verification, no vote, the EC adopted it. During the elections, it came out that where, apart from the verification, you can also do manual verification, where the face and everything is in that the machine could not pick. There are instances that people could do manual verification and have them cast their vote.
How is that done?
Of course, there are other means of verification, not only biometric verification. There was a process like that. If our verification system is proven beyond reasonable doubt that once I cast my vote, anywhere else I go and I've been verified, the machine will reject it. Obviously. But there are allegations of people voting from one polling station and go to the other polling station within the precinct of the constituency or the electoral area. I mean, what does it cost you to put your hand in indelible ink? I want to know the argument. I haven't seen what the G0es reasons are. And we've been very comfortable with this process of verification. For me, as a politician, it even helps me. When the election is ongoing and I go to homes and call people to go and vote, I can only identify who has voted or not. So me, it satisfies me as a politician. It helps me.
And you know, maybe in my field, graphically,
yes,
graphically, it paints a certain picture, and I'm sure Suhuyini will understand as a journalist. You don't need to write words. You just need to take a picture and post, showing or indicating.
Exactly. So, like I'm saying,
your vote.
For my selfish interest as a politician, because whilst we vote, we go to homes and call people to go and vote, go out to vote. Okay. So if I go, oh, I'm going to cast my vote. Let me see. It indicates that you've really cast your vote. For me, it helps me. So I want to know an argument against the usage of the indelible ink. I'm with you on that page. So it is not to suggest, because I'm not sure. They will dip they will look at you, you are NDC, they will dip your hand, you are not NPP, they will not dip your hand. It affects all of us. So electoral reforms, it's not to support any one particular part. That is why we as actors in this particular exercise, we all have to speak our mind. But we must be careful not to bastardize the G0es to the extent that we think, look, he talks about the low morale at the G0es. What is he talking about? Has the G0es told you the request they made to Parliament or their budget required for these elections have not been paid?
I'm sorry, listen to this on Graphic Online. The Electoral Commission, that is why the Electoral Commission is abandoning the use of indelible ink for elections. The Electoral Commission has declared that the indelible ink will no longer be required in the upcoming district assembly elections subsequent polls. Indelible ink is semi-permanent dye traditionally applied to voter fingers to signify the exercise of the franchise and prevent instances of double voting is being replaced. The G0es chair announced the decision at the press conference ahead of the December 19 district assembly elections, and she explained that the move is part of the Commission's effort to enhance the electoral process and establish a robust identification system. Madam Mensah stated that, quote, the issue of indelible ink, the question is, when we were not doing biometric, we were basically using your face, your card. We look at your face and we say, this picture looks like you. That was funny. So she emphasized that the adoption of the biometric technology has made it challenging for individuals to vote more than once. So once a voter has been verified and casts their votes, the system registers the information, preventing any attempts and double voting. So it's like double verification, and she's trying to do away with one.
This one, it only enhances it. It takes away nothing. Unless, of course, it's a matter of cost. But without a matter of cost, I think that we love it. With the political parties, we love it. Like somebody said, we saw it, seen it, and we love it. This one, me, I love it. So, Jane, I mean, he has a compelling argument that, look, if I vote here, let me travel to any polling station. The moment you get there without indelible ink, once you mention your name, assuming you succeeded in having multiple registration, you can only vote at 1 or 2 polling stations unless your name is on the roll at those places. So if you go there and you had already voted, the machine will fix you out. That's exactly his point she's making. So I agree with that. It enhances, but we are saying that me, where I sit, it will help me for my voter identification, those who have voted or not. Okay, so me, on that note, I love it. So for me, but again, the morale of the G0es staff, that he said, he visited the office, the morale is low. I wonder if any staff of the G0es have not been paid his salaries. I wonder if any staff of the Electoral Commission had not been paid his or her salary at the end of the month. Or what the G0es need to work, they should tell us. Because their budgets were presented to Parliament and all that. Whether whatever they need to undertake their work had been provided or not, then that you can talk about the morale of the staff being low. This issue of people yearning for change and all that, the polls we talk about. I remember the kind of argument we had in the last elections. People thought that was it. What happened? So we don't own the people of this country who vote. We only tell them our messages and plead with them, and they decide where their vote should go. And we as politicians, we have no choice than to abide by it. But if you think you bastardize state institutions for political expediency, then I'm afraid we are not doing ourselves any good. But anytime we think there's a need to improve our electoral system, it is welcome. And we've collaborated as political parties over time to improve the electoral processes by way of reforms. We came from the opaque ballot system. We came from no picture identification. We came from so many processes. Now we are here.
But you know,
it is the same issue. So again, let me come to collating of results.
Before collating of results, let me ask you questions of the credibility.
Yes.
It is the Electoral Commission that created the problem of SAL. You remember?
The Electoral Commission that created the problem of SAL. So
right.
what has that got to do with the credibility of
the elections? It is also the Electoral Commission that, gave out results and made changes several times.
Like?
It is the Electoral Commission.
No, please don't go.
The results
which
of
results?
Election 2020.
I haven't seen that. There's been a gazetted results of the EC.
I'm saying that before the gazetted of the EC,
Annie,
there were changes.
Where are the changes?
Oh,
they should have where are the changes? They should have produced the changes.
You didn't see on the Electoral Commission even its page, on its own Facebook page, with the releases that they were giving back to back.
I thought these would have been a very good evidence in court. It is not what
for the NDC to
petition.
Produce.
Yes, they are alleging to this.
No, I am asking the question of credibility.
The NDC requested that the court should allow the Electoral Commissioner to get into the
I'm just saying that the Electoral Commission.
Because you are going to court to litigate.
It was at
you
that
must
point
show documents
that
you
would
rely
have
on.
explained to us
Explain to what you don't
declared the result.
He who alleges must prove it. He who alleges must prove it.
When you
are going to make an allegation.
No,
when we went to court in 2013, we went to court with documentation. That is why you have four
that's fine.
out
that's fine.
of the
but
judges
I'm saying
of the
that
Supreme Court agreeing with us.
Hold on. The changes of the results are not allegations.
Annie, what are you talking about?
It is the Electoral Commission that made changes.
I want you to produce the numbers. It changed from here to here without basis. Bring them.
Oh.
Bring them. I mean, it's not what you say. It's about the
it is not what I am saying. It's about what the EC did.
Where is the evidence? Where is the evidence?
So you don't have evidence.
I don't have it.
Of the Electoral Commission
I don't have it.
making changes of results. Okay.
Bring them.
You let's go on. I'm just saying that.
Please.
I'm just saying that some of the activities that Electoral Commission some of the activities the Electoral Commission itself has engaged itself in creates the problem of
what problem?
Credibility.
What are you talking about?
You let people now have doubts in their heads.
Assuming without admitting. Look, in announcing presidential results, okay, we have a number of constituencies in this country. Look, going to time in 2008, Dr. Afarijan announced the results because they said that if you give all the vote in time to the MPP candidate, then it won't change the fortunes of the elections. So what you have at that time, obviously, is what the EC will announce the results with. Okay? Or you have announced maybe 250,000. They keep putting the numbers out there. What is gazetted is official records of the EC. That's what we are going to deal with. So for me, if the credibility of the EC is an institution, a human institution. From the days of Afarijan, when he presided over the EC for a very long time, there's been many proposals for electoral reforms. I'm not saying where we are today will be there for the rest of our lives. You must produce or propose tangible things that we all agree with you, that these are reforms that will help our electoral process. You don't bastardize it because you think that it did not favor you for that reason. Bring cogent results, analysis that suggests that when we do this, all of us will be comfortable with the process. Look, I'm here. Maybe somebody from the NDC may even agree to not use of indelible ink on there. But I'm saying that to me, it is better if it is going to even enhance what a robust system that we have. I don't know how much the indelible ink costs so much that we want to take it away. Nobody is complaining. I want it to be there. That is fine. So for me, when we always want to give a dog a bad name and hang it, we are not doing ourselves any good. And this is Ghana's Electoral Commission. I'm not talking about Jane today. I'm talking about the Electoral Commission that has presided over many public elections in this country, acclaimed globally. It cannot be credible Electoral Commission when NDC is in power. When they are out of power, then it's not credible Electoral Commission. That system must stop in this country. And it's not fair.
But when you were in opposition, we didn't have a credible Electoral Commission.
We proposed reforms.
When you were in
opposition.
We
propose reforms. Anytime we are in opposition, we propose reforms. And that reforms, most often than not,
to remove the former EC.
It was the MPP who did that.
Oh.
What are you talking about? It was the MPP who did that.
Hey.
It was the MPP who did that.
Sly.
What are you talking about, Annie?
Who did it?
The MPP.
It was government.
It was done at MPP.
So it was government.
What are you talking about? What
So it was government.
It was the MPP. What are you
Who
talking
removed
about?
the EC?
The laws of this country.
The law.
Removed her.
Okay.
Annie,
The laws of this country. Removed her.
Okay.
A petitioner.
There are two things you are challenging me
Annie.
for. One is on the changes of electoral results.
Annie.
The other is on the Council
Annie.
of State.
Annie, I have
I've asked you. I didn't know the
have
reason.
produced
I
all
want the
of them.
reason.
I'm going
Annie,
to send you
I
the
want
releases.
you.
Annie,
Please,
have
I
to-
want
So
them.
you
I
read
asked
them.
you for it. For the,
Yes.
I didn't know. I told you I did not know the response
Annie.
Of the Council of
So I
State.
did not challenge you on that
Okay.
one.
Annie,
Please.
Annie, you see,
Yes.
Madam Mensah, in her declaration of the results in 2020, gave a figure of 13,434,574 as a total valid votes cast, while the one captured on the EC's official document that was released was 13,121,101.
Come again, please. I didn't get that.
So in her declaration, when she met the media, she captured total valid votes as 13,434,574. But the statement that the EC issued on its letterhead captured total valid votes as 13,121,111, short with about 300 and something votes. Now, when she declared the results, she said Nana Akuffo Addo had 51.595% of the total valid votes cast. But the official EC document gave Nana Akuffo Addo 51.295%. Are you getting the inconsistencies?
So
Then-
you went to court.
So I thought you said you didn't know about this.
No,
So
yes,
you don't
why
know.
you
Let
went
me
to
give you
court?
the information.
The EC
And I'm telling you,
gazetted results.
Slide.
Put that one
Slide.
out there.
And I'm
That's
telling
the
you,
results
I
that
am-
declared the president the winner.
I am
Like,
telling
it's
you.
very easy. Just
Look,
Google, you'll find it.
and I'm telling you.
I'm
telling you.
Or you are saying that why didn't they go to court with the
And
figures?
go with the
Look,
Yes,
when this
challenge
matter
it.
came up, they issued a statement. They released another press statement in which they now revised the total number of valid votes cast from the 13,434,574 to 13,119,460. I mean,
Yeah.
four different
Four.
figures. And so when you say that we
Should
went
I
to
send
court,
that to you?
and that is why Annie,
You're not getting my
that
point.
is why Annie,
You're
I'm
not getting
saying
my
that
point.
I'm saying that people
So-
didn't understand the gravamen of the case that the NDC took to court. Look, the
But
day
he's
the
saying
Supreme
that
Court,
you
I'm saying
have these. Well, I mean, we all have these figures.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. I'm
you
saying
can
that.
make
I'm
it
saying
easy
that
to make your
the
point.
day the Supreme Court disallowed the returning officer, in
To
this
appear.
case, Jen Mensah, to answer to some of these questions, some of us came to the conclusion that justice was not going to be served. Because that is why, look, that is why we are arguing about these figures today.
But you jumped the gun.
I'm saying that is why today we don't know what went into the production of these figures. You and I don't know. Only Madam G0es Mensah knows and her staff. But perhaps if she had gone into
No, but you see,
if she had gone
that's
into
the
the
point.
box, if she had gone into the box, these questions would have been put to her, and maybe would have all been better educated as to what went wrong, resulting in these changes. And maybe we would have all been clear in our mind, and perhaps it would have even helped the image of the Electoral Commission. But Sly talks about.
You made your own legal deductions when she was disallowed to go into the box.
I said
and then
personally,
drew
some of
conclusions.
us felt that justice was not going to serve.
Judgmental conclusions. You judge the case ahead of the judgment.
Yes, because you see,
Because she was not allowed to go into.
I'm speaking for myself. Sorry, I'm speaking for myself, and I'm saying that Annie, the day she was disallowed from entering the box to get questioned by these things, I felt that justice was going to be denied because, as of today, I am unaware of why the figures changed the way they did. And you can't blame me for being ignorant.
Did you compare them to your figures?
You see, that is why I started by saying that consider me an ordinary Ghanaian who has no
Party.
interest in
No, by
NDC
this point,
or
you are
MPP.
representing a
I know, I'm saying
No,
that.
I will not consider you.
I understand that, Annie. But I'm saying
not
that.
at
I'm
this
saying that you must know that the duty of responsibility
And they've discharged that.
is
You
with the
disagree.
electoral
On
commission.
what basis are you discharging?
Now, in discharging that duty,
It's been
they
discharged.
give you 3 different results
So what are your results?
successively.
You couldn't
It
collect
is
your own
important
results.
that they are
Judging
given the
somebody's
opportunity
credibility.
to explain to you how come and to, set your mind free of any possible manipulation.
So
But
if,
that was
so,
not done.
So if I even see you, or recognize you here as an ordinary person,
Yeah.
and I want to address the NDC, I'm not addressing you, but the NDC.
Yeah.
The
But
NDC.
I'm NDC. Yeah,
That,
you-
no,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
fine.
I'm just making the point. Yes.
I'm
You
learning.
don't
I'm
separate
learning
the
from
two.
you. I'm saying that. So I'm seeing you as ordinary now,
Yeah.
and I'm questioning the NDC. I support NDC. I'm in the opposition, so I want to see how the NDC had its figures, with or without her in the box. It would have been easy for you to say that. Well, this is what we collated from the beginning. If there was any mistake, margin of error, you can state it. But it looks like comparing it to the changes she made.
Annie, I mean,
We
that
don't
is-
understand.
That is
probably would have reason or giving a reason to force her into a box. You never
Annie,
know.
Annie.
But you didn't produce anything.
Annie.
Supporters were lost.
Annie.
And
you
I
are,
mean,
you are litigating. You are litigating, or you are beating a dead horse.
And this is
Okay, well.
This is a
These are your
matter.
parties.
This is a matter
Another
that has,
election is coming.
This is a matter that has been discussed already, and it has been the facts about it have all been put forward. But I'm saying that in relation to that particular court case, the focus, in my view, should not be too much on the weaknesses of the NDC. The focus should be too much. The focus should be more.
Admit your weaknesses.
Yes, the
when you
weaknesses
attack
are there. That's why I
somebody.
said you are beating a dead
Admit
horse.
it.
The weaknesses are there. But I'm saying that the focus of the court case should have been justice served to the ordinary Ghanaian who queues to vote, and not the NDC who may have, shirked a duty or responsibility in compiling results.
I get you.
I'm making sense. I'm saying that focus should have been about providing and serving justice to the ordinary person who queues to vote, and not the NDC or the MPP who shirks responsibility when it comes to compiling results.
But neither of the
But I'm
party
saying
can
that
shirk responsibility.
they
You
shouldn't.
understand?
It is irresponsible.
Yes, you can't.
It's irresponsible.
Then
And
you can challenge the
it
institution
is
that's making.
irresponsible for any of the parties to shirk that responsibility. But that should not also prevent the ordinary Ghanaian who queues to vote the justice that he deserves when it comes to the responsibility. When it comes to the responsibility, when it comes to the responsibility that the ordinary Ghanaian is owed by the electoral commission. Now on the voter reforms. I mean, you had your time. Let me get.
Time is
No,
up.
but I'm
Time
not
is
too
up.
sure
You were rebutting.
You see,
No, I'm now rebutting some
Are
of
you
the
now
issues
rebutting?
that he's
Let me
raising.
also.
then let
Can
me-
we-
He talked about.
Please, let me also
He
do
talked
something.
about the
I'll give you some
NDC. The NDC always attacking state institutions, and I'm shocked that he is the one saying so. I am shocked.
You are?
In fact, you gave him that example of the
JC.
reforms. One of the reforms that they propose in opposition, the removal of Charlotte.
Say.
Please,
Yeah,
please,
those were one of the
can you
reforms
imagine
that they proposed.
Can you imagine that?
And they have
Because
actually
can
lived
you,
that
Can you
way.
imagine that? Can you imagine
Do you
that?
understand?
Look at what
This
they
was
are.
high
Name the
with
reforms
the let my vote count. You remember him with the let my
all the
vote count.
reforms we've
And
undertaken
the
in this
things
country.
they did.
It came from the
And when he
MPP.
talks
And we are
about
talking
reforms,
about
and when he talks
Charlotte,
about
that means
reforms,
what?
and when he talks about
You're
reforms
talking about
that
that.
have
What are you
taken
talking
place,
about? What are you talking
I
about?
will want to place it on record here
What are you talking about?
that every reform that have been undertaken at the Electoral Commission has been, I mean, especially the most endearing ones, have been under a listening and a listening government that after the debates, even when they disagree with the proposals of the opposition, still provides a budget for it.
Okay.
Wait a minute. It is significant because in this case, you have even the opposition chased out of, what do you call it, the Electoral Commission, the platform, when they go for the meetings,
iPad.
When they go for meetings, and even the chairman of the opposition laughs, is a problem. Not alone to make proposals. And when they make proposals, the proposals are rejected. I'm saying that, but when you have a government that is truly democratic, that respects the views of the opposition, when the opposition makes suggestions, and even the government opposes those suggestions, they still provide a budget for the Electoral Commission to incorporate it. That is significant. And he talks about regional coalition and he says Afarijan shouldn't be speaking about it. Look, one of the reasons why our elections have been very, transparent and manipulative free, if there's a phrase like that, is because there is little interference in the transmission. So you go to the coalition center, the polling station. The results are declared. From the polling station, you move to the coalition center. From the coalition center, it usually goes straight. So there is little human interference. But when you introduce more human interference, you cannot rule out manipulation. And that's the point the former electoral commissioner is making. That as much as possible, limit the stoppages. Because every time figures stop, you cannot guarantee that they will. It's just like transmission of information.
It's obvious. It's obvious that the NDC is saying to reject the elections in 2024. But I can promise them, Ghanaians' vote will be protected. The MPP will protect and account for each one of the votes that we get from the polling station to the national coalition. They should continue sleeping and accuse everybody in this country. I promise them. For us in the MPP, even in 2000 when they were in government, by 4 a.m. we knew the numbers we had, and there's nothing they could have done about it. So if the NDC are going to sleep, we trust the EC. We'll continue to propose reforms. Look, we are talking about 500 per polling station on voting day. If the EC is proposing 3 o'clock, if you start voting by 8 o'clock, 500 people in queue, you would have finished voting.
Don't try.
But if you're in the queue at 3 p.m., you will still continue to vote.
He also saw you at the program.
My good brother, it's been so long.
Yes,